because I'm not giving up. I will see this through until the end. I mean, Jimmy deserves justice.
And you heard it there. It was an emotional day in court as the judge issued yet another delay in the trial of Raul Valley. Valley's attorney says an important email in the case was lost. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Annette Montgomery. Now, you may remember Valley was acquitted last summer by a jury for murder and intentional manslaughter in the 2022 stabbing death of 17-year-old Fairfield Prep student James Jimmy McGrath. But the jury remained deadlocked on the lesser charges. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is outside of Milford Superior Court to break down the delay and share reaction from the victim's family.
Nearly 4 years after his son was stabbed to death at a Shelton house party, Kevin McGrath says he's disgusted by another delay in the court proceedings and says he wants nothing more than justice for his son.
It's like it happened yesterday.
Kevin McGrath, James McGrath's father, and his family went to court Friday expecting his case to move forward. Instead, they were met with another delay.
One of the reasons for why we're asking for another date, I guess, in this case.
And it all came down to a missing email. Raul Valley's attorney Darnell Crossland previously filed a motion to dismiss the case on the grounds of double jeopardy. When the state filed its response, they said it was emailed to Crossland. However, Crossland said they never got that email.
But you can't argue what you don't have. But I also said I don't want a lengthy continuance either.
The state and the defense will now have to argue those motions at their next court date in June. The McGrath family were emotional outside the courthouse after the hearing. Kevin McGrath says he's had enough of the delays in this case.
And every time you come into a court and they're not prepared, it's disgusting. It's disrespectful to us.
He says their family will never give up their fight for justice.
He didn't do anything to Raul Valley, but he stuck a knife into my son's chest.
Valley was acquitted of the murder of 17-year-old James McGrath and of first-degree manslaughter, as well as the intentional assault of 2 other people at a 2022 house party in Shelton. The jury remained deadlocked on the lesser charges of reckless manslaughter, 2 counts of first-degree reckless assault, and second-degree reckless assault. Valley claimed the stabbing was in self-defense during the trial. He claims he drew a pocket knife during a violent assault in which he was attacked by more than 10 people. Crossland says since the jury found him not guilty on the murder charge, he questions if the state can now retry him for reckless manslaughter.
You can't be found not guilty on an intentional and unjustified on a reckless.
He says similar to the McGrath family, Valley wants a resolution to this case.
He was a young kid even back then, so he's growing and maturing, and everybody wants to have some closure to this case.
Crossland says during the next hearing on June 1st, he plans to go forward with his motion to dismiss the case on the grounds of double jeopardy. In Milford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Thank you, Alicia. Well, officials with Bright Path Daycare say the former employee accused of sexually assaulting children occasionally filled in at some of the company's other Connecticut locations. They said Jan Barrios Otero primarily worked at the Avon location, but also worked a limited number of hours at the locations on Park Road in West Hartford, Day Hill Road in Windsor, and the center in Simsbury. The company said it has shared this information with police, DCF, the Office of Early Childhood, and Bright Path families in the region. As of right now, there are no reports or claims he sexually assaulted children at those other locations. Barrios Otero faces charges involving at least 5 children at the Avon location. And a 1-year-old girl from Newtown is safe and back with her mother tonight, according to police. A silver alert was issued earlier this week after Newtown police say the girl's father, Brennan McGrath, kept her longer than he was legally allowed to. And that's according to a custody order. Police say McGrath was uncooperative with police and DCF after being ordered to bring her back. Police now have a warrant out to arrest and charge him with several charges, including custodial interference. Well, switching gears to weather, the weekend is finally here, and it's looking pretty 50-50 weather-wise. So let's welcome in meteorologist Sam Sampiri with the first look at the forecast. Sam.
Hey there, Annette. Good evening to you and everyone. It's a nice Friday evening. We're clearing the skies out. Sunset at 7:57. Wash out for your Saturday and brighter, but now I'm going to have to introduce a chance for a couple isolated or scattered showers on Mother's Day, particularly later on into the afternoon. So once again, we're thinking it's still brighter and warmer, but we have to put in the chance for that isolated shower in the afternoon. Right now, temperatures are fairly cool for this time of year. We're in the 50s and near 60. And we have a bit of a wind out of the northwest. We had a couple of scattered showers, especially in southeastern Connecticut. Showers will develop, and you're planning for tomorrow, light rain developing and moderate to heavy rain in the midday to afternoon hours. Rain showers, it'll taper off by the evening hours. And of course, temperatures tomorrow will be quite chilly over here. So again, clearing out, then increasing clouds, rain in for your Saturday. Coming up, I will detail how much rain and what you can expect Mother's Day, a little more detail on those showers and what we have into next week. Annette?
Right now, investigators say a Hartford man was killed in an early morning shooting in Waterbury on Wednesday. Police say 20-year-old Daniel Pert was shot in the head on Easton Avenue and pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, you're taking a look at video from that scene. Currently, no arrests have been made. Well, West Haven police said 2 men were rescued after being stuck in about 60-degree water for 4 hours last night. Police said their boat capsized after it hit the wake of a passing boat. Officers said a friend of the men told them he hadn't heard from the men since they left around 1 p.m. And ultimately, neighbors and first responders found them half a mile out from the April Street boat ramp. Now, they were hospitalized, and tonight we are working to learn how they're doing. Well, right now it is going to be a slow going in some of the criminal cases surrounding the death of 11-year-old Mimi Torres Garcia. Specifically, the cases against her aunt Jacqueline, who appeared in court today, and Mimi's mother Carla, who didn't show for her hearing. Today, both the prosecution and defense argued or agreed that there's so much evidence to process that they'll need weeks to go over it all before even considering the next steps. So a judge set their next court date for June 26. As for Carla's ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, he already pleaded not guilty to a murder charge and is due in court again on the 19th. Well, after an outage at the worst possible time during finals week, students at Quinnipiac and Yale University now have access to Canvas, an online system used to manage grades, take course notes, view assignments, and lectures after a cyber attack knocked the learning system offline yesterday. In an update after the cyber attack Thursday, Instructure, the company behind Canvas, confirmed that names, email addresses, student ID numbers, and private messages between users were accessed before the breach was stopped. The criminal extortion group known as Shiny Hunters claimed responsibility for the attack. On a dark web leak site, the group said it stole more than 3.65 terabytes of data and threatened to release it unless its demands were met. By Friday, it's reported Instructure and Canvas had been removed from a dedicated leak site created by the ransomware group on the dark web to publish stolen data. The company said there's currently no evidence that passwords, dates of birth, government identification numbers, or financial information were compromised. But this learning system is used by nearly 9,000 learning institutions, including universities, K-12 school districts, and education ministries worldwide. We reached out to the University of Connecticut, Southern Connecticut State University, and University of Hartford. They do not use Canvas, but another platform called Blackboard. Quinnipiac said final exams proceeded Friday as scheduled, and final grades are now due to the registrar by May 13th. Yale said some Canvas functions may remain temporarily unavailable while it continues to monitor the system and maintain heightened security measures. This now marks the second confirmed cybersecurity incident for Instructure in about 8 months. Back in September 2025, the same Shiny Hunters group allegedly used a social engineering attack to breach the company's Salesforce system. And tonight, officials are still telling people who use Canvas to be cautious and monitor their accounts for any suspicious activity. Right now, that investigation is still active, and the full extent of the breach is still unknown. Well, now switching to national news, the White House insists the ceasefire is still in place, even as the U.S. and Iran trade attacks in the Persian Gulf. Caroline Elliott reports.
American forces hit 2 Iranian oil tankers on Friday in the Strait of Hormuz, trying to break a U.S. blockade in the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. says it came in response to an Iranian attack on 3 U.S. Navy ships.
The red line is clear. If they threaten Americans, they're going to get blown up. You fire a missile at the United States and we saw you fire it, we're going to hit you.
It's another sign the so-called ceasefire is looking more unstable by the day.
The U.S. responded defensively to protect itself. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at, and we're not a stupid country.
Iran's foreign minister responded, saying in part, quote, every time a diplomatic solution is on the table, the U.S. opts for a reckless military adventure, adding that, quote, Iranians never bow to pressure. But President Trump warns time to accept a peace deal is running out.
You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
And the U.S. proposal reportedly focuses on a full stop to Iran's nuclear program and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox 61.
A man is in critical condition tonight after he was hit by a car while riding a bike in Plainville. Police say this happened around 7:20 last night at the West Main Street and Forestville Avenue intersection. Officers tell us the driver stayed on scene and is cooperating. Right now, they are investigating what led up to that crash. And police say a Stratford man was drunk when he drove more than 90 miles an hour moments before a fiery crash in Ansonia that hurt 4 people back in March. Investigators say Amari Langston's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit when he crashed into multiple vehicles and a pole which caught fire. 1 passenger suffered serious head and neck injuries. Langston is out on bond and due in court later this month on a long list of charges.